Deluzio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Caine, I want to start with commending what you've said here today to Mr. Ryan and others about the apolitical nature of our military. I know it's a set of values that any of us who've served understand, that the military respects deeply civilian control, and that certainly runs up through Secretary Hegseth and to the Commander-in-Chief, no matter which party happens to be in the White House. I think even a pretty powerful example of that is when we have the State of the Union, you and the other members of the Joint Chiefs typically don't applaud for the more partisan parts of any president's remarks. Briefly, tell us why that is even a norm we should care about, why the American people should care about that norm.
Well, sir, that's codified in the oath of office, our Constitution, and our commission. So it goes all the way back to the beginnings, and that's always been our tradition.
I think it's an important tradition. I think it's one that we should care about no matter which side of this dais we're on, Democrats or Republicans. I think we should demand and expect that our most senior military commanders understand that partisan loyalty doesn't matter. What matters is the oath to the Constitution that we all take here, that any of us who've worn the uniform have taken. And I want to just ask some questions about the kinds of, I think, difficult positions commanders are going to be placed in, given what I saw happen at Fort Bragg, the guidance that exists now already for the military. And I ask this of you because you are not just the president's principal military advisor, you're the senior officer in our armed forces. If you or any other commander were ordered to attend a campaign rally, you would decline. Am I right?
Sir, per the Hatch Act, which we get briefs on every year, it outlines pretty clearly what you can and can't do when you're in active service. And so I completely trust and believe in the professionalism of the United States Armed Forces, as does the Secretary. We follow those guidelines.
And I agree with you. And my concern here is less that we're going to see bad decisions made by our troops or their commanders. I don't think it's the problem. I think the problem is they're going to be placed in really difficult positions by civilian leadership. And the Fort Bragg episode, to me, is one of those examples. And I'll talk about some of the things, and we've heard some of it brought up here today. And again, my questions are to help you, give you a chance to put out for the public what you expect of our senior military leaders. So some things that the president said in his remarks, referring to a political rival, the governor of California and the mayor of Los Angeles, called them incompetent in front of the troops. Referring to Governor Walz, reference back to the debate between him and now Vice President J.D. Vance, saying that was a good debate. J.D. against this guy, remember how bad he was? He was one of the worst. I think he's running for president too. Can you believe it? But he's a radical left lunatic. That's a quote. Referencing the continued lie that he didn't lose the 2020 election, President Trump said, and I quote, "I was thinking about running because the election was rigged and stolen. We all know it," end quote. That's what the Commander-in-Chief is saying in an event with troops who are ordered to attend. And let me be clear, presidents for a long time have always had the prerogative to compel the attendance of our troops to be there as the Commander-in-Chief. I get it. This is different to me. You heard discussion of the campaign merch being sold on the base. Another piece of this, and let's bring this up, invitations to the event went out from Donald Trump's campaign. Had an invitation right there taking you to a place where you can contribute to DonaldJTrump.com. And so my question, my concern is, of course, you and I don't think any commander would agree to attend a campaign rally, but you're brought to something that traditionally troops have attended, as they should with the Commander-in-Chief, but it turns into something that's a campaign rally. What should our commanders be doing when they're put in this position, General?
Well, sir, I hope you'll allow me to answer this. By even my engaging in answering this question, that is making my job involved in politics. And so while I appreciate the question, I think the chairman and the force should stay out of politics. And if I engage in this question and with deep respect and appreciation for your question, I don't think it's an appropriate question for me to answer.
General, that is, I agree with the way you're approaching this, and that's what we should expect of our leaders. In the 10 seconds or so I have left, I will tell you I'm very concerned for the position that you and other senior leaders are going to be placed in by this administration. I'd urge you as the president's principal military advisor to give him advice to knock it off. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair,